website, the California Department of Ed website. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to our session. Now, this was all working before everybody walked in here.
Of course, right?
There it is, okay. All right, so on the front page, you're gonna see our superintendent of schools for California, Tom Torkelson. And a couple things to note here for your information. On the highlights down here, highlight where you can look at the new standards for English and math. And they also have other, like the new college and career division director, he's got some information there. You can find information on the CASP and the Smarter Balance assessments. So before we go into, and using these tiles across here are also a good resource because there's some for students, parents, teachers, and administrators. We're gonna first go down to the new standards for English and math. And on this page, then I would click on Common Core State Standards. And then you're gonna see where it's got the students and parents tile. And this is added, this is a new feature that they've added on their website, which I think is really useful. What they've done is they've added the Spanish links for the Common Core Standards, and they divided it with grade level spans of K2, 3-5, 6-8, and 9-12. So for instance, if you needed to really see what your student should know by the end of a grade level, I'm gonna choose the English for K2 right now, and you can download it as a PDF. And it is so new that they have an optional survey that you could actually give your opinion about this site. But it talks about each grade level in K1 and 2 of what they need to know with reading comprehension. They list some other links and resources that you can use. It tells what your student should know by the end of the year. And it actually breaks it down into K1 and 2 in those areas. How do they analyze or analysis of text here? What does that mean in K1 and 2? So I thought that this was a really good resource, especially for our English learners or Hispanic families that needed to have it in Spanish. You can also do that same thing for math. So we're going to come down here for English K2 for math. And it talks about the grade level focus, again giving you some other resources along here. What examples of fluency expressions that where students really need to be able to calculate quickly and add and subtract. What that would look like for kindergarten, first and second grade, kind of give you some limits on there. And some example problems. So another good resource is if you'd like to check that out. All right, I have a short video about what's cooking with the Common Core. So I thought we would watch that if we can get it up and going.
What's at the core of California? What makes us special? What sets us apart? Well, we're always pushing new frontiers of innovation, leading the way to the future. What that future holds, we don't know, but we'll be ready when it comes. If our children have been prepared to think critically and to solve problems independently, if they can work effectively in teams and communicate clearly and powerfully, we'll be ready for all of the opportunities and challenges that lie ahead. Luckily, we have a plan today that will help us solve the problems of tomorrow. It involves remodeling our current system of education, surveying to see what's working and what's not, and updating it to meet a new set of needs. We need to remodel our approach to education so that it becomes more like a kitchen where students are learning to cook with information, learning to select information, judge its quality, and use a variety of tools to combine knowledge and analysis to produce something original. Following steps carefully, but also learning to improvise. Cooking with information means creating something practical, relevant, and meaningful with knowledge. The Common Core State Standards are a set of goals that are being implemented statewide as part of the remodeling project. They focus on the kinds of updated skills that the next generation of Californians needs to succeed in college, in our workforce, and in life. Part of this remodeling involves updating the way that we prepare and equip our teachers so they are more like master chefs, setting challenges and working alongside students, but making sure that students get the chance to get their hands dirty and figure out what works. We need a next generation way of thinking about teaching and learning. In math, we need to teach how numbers work and relate to a broader set of problem-solving skills. In language arts, we need students reading literature and nonfiction that tie different subjects together and practice writing convincing arguments and developing their ideas. Whenever you take on a remodeling project, there's bound to be some dust and noise early on. But in the end, you get something that works better and more efficiently. We all need to support the remodeling of our education system if it's going to work for us. That's why California has been getting feedback and is taking its time to get the blueprints just right. By remodeling our learning kitchens and providing teachers the support they need, California's next generation of students will be able to use all of the fresh ingredients and flavors available to us to keep California exceptional. That's what's cooking with the Common Core in California.
All right, so a couple takeaways from that video are important to remember. Number one is teachers can no longer teach like we used to teach long ago because we are just confronted with so many innovative new ideas and ways to teach, and the rigor out there and the complexities of competing with everyone around the world is just at a much higher level now. So helping teachers learn new strategies and methods for their teaching is what is in the process right now, as well as the way that the students learn. When I went to school, a lot of the way that I learned was, we sat in rows, we sat in desks, we never worked in group work, and everything was very isolated and independent. I'm sure you could probably, agree with that. Today we are finding that it's far more important for students to work together in collaborative groups, different type of learning groups, and to be able to problem solve and actually work through and persevere through a problem. And sharing ideas is so powerful. So the look of what you see in the classroom today is different. And so we've got teachers learning new things and students learning new ways of learning too. So those are the two big comeaways with that, or takeaways. All right. So, let's take a look at our, oops, I didn't put it on the slide mode. We're going to get the Chromebooks out in a few minutes, but in your handouts, you're going to see that I've listed a couple other different websites that are really useful. And I wanted to show you one from the California PTA website that is probably a little bit more user-friendly for parents. And one of them is from the California PTA that talks about homework help, and it's listed on your page there. And it gives some good resources for parents on how to help support their students at home with homework. And it also comes in different languages. So again, if you need it in a different language, you can choose one of those. Hopefully you can find one that works for you. And it talks about different ideas. I mean, why do teachers give homework and how much time should be spent on homework? Kind of gives you some guidelines for that. All right, so let's talk a little bit about reading. oftentimes today you'll hear how reading is taught in a balance between reading and writing. I mean, those two go really hand in hand and support one another. And teaching is really based on something called balanced literacy, where teachers will teach and have students learn word study skills and vocabulary. They will have different times during the day where the teachers are read to them. Maybe it's a shared reading experience where both students and teachers are interactive with a big book or a book of some sort. They'll have independent reading time. They'll also be doing things that some teachers will choose a reading workshop where she could pull small groups of students and do guided reading with them while other students are working on different literacy skills. And to support that, they'll also have some component of the writing workshop where the same thing occurs. This year, and actually last year, we've adopted a new reading program called Lucy Calkins' The Writing Workshop. So our writing is really based on a workshop idea, and that there are 3 types of writing that teachers will focus on. It's narrative, opinion, and information writing. And that information writing, again, is just a very important piece because you really need to know how to write and analyze text. So, putting it all together, these are some of the things that readers must do in order to really be able to comprehend a text. So in the early years, K2 is where students are learning all their strategies and skills to learn how to read from 3 through 5 and upper grades. They're pulling all those skills together, and that's where they'll use a lot more analytical and evaluative kind of ideas when they're reading text. But at the lower grades, they must be able to know what the text features are in a book, what kinds of things are included in the book that really support their reading. They need to know how books work. Of course, they need to know the alphabetic principle, know about letters and sounds. They definitely need to also know some reading strategies and skills to be able to pull all that information together and comprehend their reading. And they need to be able to read a variety of texts, both informational and literary. So right now, we're going to explore a couple websites. The first one is also in your handout. It's from Great Schools, and it's called Milestones. And it's helping parents understand grade level expectations. And I really am excited about this website because it really shows you what students would be doing at certain levels. And then we'll go ahead and get you on a laptop so you can see more. The website is also in your handout. And what you do here is you're going to select your grade level for your student. And they also have a section for middle school and high school. So I think you've got kindergarten, 2nd grade, and 2nd. We'll go ahead and pick a 2nd grade level. And when you come to this page, you're going to see where they have a section for reading. And then they broke the reading component down for 2nd grades on different parts of what you might be looking for. So if you wanted to see what a student would look like when they're trying to sound out tough words, you could click on that. This one is talking about reading fluency. Reading fluency is not only speed, it's speed and accuracy and expression. Do they sound like a storyteller? And really looking out for that punctuation when they read. So this one we'll talk about, does your 2nd grader really know how to figure out the meaning of a new word? This one is showing understanding, and the last one is reading skills. Does anyone want to choose one of the topics for us to look at? What age level is yours? Third grade? Okay, great. Welcome, glad you're here. What would you guys like to look at? Anything specific? Reading fluency, or you want me to choose? Okay. All right, so we'll go ahead and look and see what your 2nd grader would sound like if they were a fluent reader in 2nd grade.
What does a 2nd grade fluent reader look like? At this age, fluency means reading smoothly with a little expression and at a speed that doesn't get in the way of understanding what they read.
At the edge of the sidewalk, beside an old tire, a yellow daffodil grew. Anne reached out to gently touch its soft petals. "You are beautiful," he said. "It's a shame you have to live here all alone."
It might sound smooth, but checking for understanding is still important.
So do we know what a daffodil is?
I'm just seeing a flower.
Who are the characters?
Anne,
Okay, where is she?
she's at the lot in Carson Street.
So is your second grader on track? By year's end, a kid who reads fluently can read smoothly, can read with expression, and can read at a natural speed that doesn't get in the way of understanding.
Okay, so I know it's not a really in-depth video, but it kind of gives you some ideas, a guideline of what your student might be able to do at that grade level. And the nice thing about it is it also has sections for math. So if I would scroll down from this page, they have sections for math and writing in second grade, and you can also view some other videos on that. And it's really nice that that goes all the way up through high school. Kind of gives you an idea of what they should be doing. All right, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna pass out a few of the Chromebooks because I want everyone to work with this interactive website that really targets reading skills. And it looks like this. So what we're gonna do is you're gonna put in the search bar this reading website here, and it will look like this. And it's called Into the Book. And this circle here are targeting specific reading skills like visualization, summarizing, inference skills. And they can choose, this is a tool that they can use at home, and they can choose a specific skill and practice that on the computer. So let's see if we can get into just one more some of this. Thank you.
Guys, just so you know, here's the username and password. If it's not already in there for you, right here on the wall, okay?
Oh, perfect. Everybody have a computer?